Astonishing Legends Network.
Disclaimer. This episode includes the usual amount of adult language and graphic discussions you've come to expect around here. But in the event it becomes an unusual amount, expect another call from me.
It was at this moment that Ed noticed the camera hadn't been recording. As expected, there was some strong language and troubleshooting, but every bit the professionals they are, the show went on.
Hey everybody, welcome to Scared All the Time Video Edition. That's right.
Fuck, man.
We are 100
years old on these cameras.
61 episodes into this podcast, and we are finally coming out of the year 2017 and into the year 2025.
I don't know what year it is.
We are doing a video component. The video component is going to get better. If you've been following along on Patreon over the month of September, we've been giving everybody a sneak preview of what our video show is looking like. We've grown that show to 3 cameras, but we recorded those a long time ago. And so now we're back down to 1 camera because
I have like a emergency angle.
Yeah, we have an emergency angle.
That if you see it,
it means something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying to figure out how to grow the video component, make it all look a little bit better. But this is Video Scared All the Time. Give it a watch. Ed is putting lots of fun little visual jokes. You can still listen to the podcast and it'll still be great.
Oh, yeah.
But if you watch it, there's going to be, kind of fun stuff to follow along with. And you'll finally be able to see when I'm like, hey, Ed, look at this picture, of which there's a few in this episode.
Oh, good. More work for me.
Yeah, you'll be able to see.
This is going to be my first time
at.
doing a full-length episode. If you're unlocked, they're under an hour.
Right.
And so it takes a lot of time to like come up with those little gags and put them in and stuff. So we'll see.
This one might be long.
This one, oh, good. First one back.
Because
will kill us.
Everybody. Well, it'll kill us, and then our ghosts will stick around because, as you can tell from my Overlook Hotel shirt that I pulled on in the dark at 5:30 this morning when Felix woke up, we are doing haunted hotels.
Oh, speaking of something waking you up at 5:30 this morning, I was awoken by the best way I could describe it, and I actually have a little recording of it, so maybe I'll drop it in here. Mm-hmm. I was awoken outside my window by a dog maybe dying. I don't know, but whatever it was the nearly exact sound of the dog getting taken over by the alien in The Thing.
That's not a great sound to wake up to.
No, and I will put the sound in here, and it's just off the Ring camera, so it's like, because I had to like turn on the Ring camera and go to live mode because nothing was activating it.
Right.
Just to be like, I'm hearing this, right? I can play this back and I'm not losing my mind.
Do you want to put the sound in before we hit the intro?
Yeah, here's a sound. Well, it's like 3 minutes of a dying animal, but I won't put it all in. But you'll hear a little bit of it, and when that ends, intro.
When it came time to choose a topic for this month, Ed, you know where I was. I was holed up in a hotel room, working through dozens of potential subjects to kick off spooky season with. It's always a fun time of the year for us, and I wanted to do something really great. I wanted to try to pinpoint that perfect blend of eerie and funny and engaging that the best Scared All the Time episodes are made out of. And then it hit me. I was sitting inside of the perfect topic, hotels. More specifically, the things that haunt them. My hotel was unfortunately ghoul-free. There were no ghosts at the hotel I was in, but it did get me thinking about all the iconic hotels that are featured in a lot of the movies people are watching this time of year, from the icy isolation of the Overlook Hotel in The Shining to the creepy Bates Motel from Psycho, which technically is not haunted, but a lot of people are going to be watching.
I mean, it might be after that event.
True. The claustrophobic terror of the Dolphin Hotel in 1408, and the unnerving atmosphere of the Yankee Peddler Inn in The Innkeepers.
I have not seen all these films.
The Innkeepers is great. It's a Ty West movie. It's really creepy. These movies and countless other independent horror movies that people are watching this time of year have been inspired by actual haunted hotels, From lavish, luxurious establishments that have hosted royalty and celebrities to decrepit roadside motels that have witnessed unspoken horrors, hotels see the full spectrum of the human experience: joy, sorrow, and tragedy. And it's all that leftover energy lingering in those places, those unfinished stories that manifest as the bumps in the night, the cold spots, the fleeting glimpses of figures in the periphery that we're going to be talking about today. So, pack your bags, click on your nightlight, and let's check in to a haunted hotel.
Okay.
What are we?
Scared.
When are we?
All the time.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
Now it is time for
Scared all the time.
All right, here we are. Video era, as you know, if you've been watching for the last couple of minutes, and I'm sure we've been talking about it prior to housekeeping, we're not even going to waste any time because we've been gone too long and we're already 2 days late. So, Chris, welcome to the video era. Welcome to housekeeping on camera.
Thank you. It feels great. I really like it here. I hope we stay for a long, long time.
Oh, shit, man.
But not as long as the souls of the damned trapped in the hotels that we are about to talk about in this week's episode. We just wanted to stop in, give you guys a quick housekeeping to let you know we are back in action. We know we owe buttons and shout outs and 2 live shows this month. September was lunacy. You guys know we're very good about keeping a schedule, but
September was the worst month of the year for me so far.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, but we are back. We've got a great episode this week. We have one of my favorite guests you've ever had lined up for our mid-October, October 16th episode. So don't miss anything. Go to patreon.com/scared all the time. Sign up if you haven't yet. And
a lot of video on there.
A lot of video already up there. And if you have already watched all of that, get ready because there's a lot more coming for your eyeballs. And if you're new, YouTube, Spotify, find the show.
I don't know anywhere else. I think that might be, I don't know. This is our first time uploading to video. So that isn't Patreon. So we'll find out where we are. But I think for sure YouTube and for sure, I don't know. Spotify has it, but I don't know if I have to click a new button. But in terms of this episode, you can watch it all. You can listen to it all in your car. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't do them at the same time. Don't drive and watch. And if you do, Chris, what's going to happen?
We're not going to get sued because you're not going to say a goddamn thing about our show when
we weren't even there, dude.
We weren't even there.
But yeah, so go watch all the stuff on Patreon. There's a lot of visual jokes on there and a lot of stuff that you're not going to see if you're watching this first episode because, as we said, September, it was so busy, probably making those so good that we ran into some shit with this one. But anyway, this is not our best foot forward, but you better keep listening because it's a great episode. If you just listen, it's a great episode.
And if you watch. So without further ado, welcome to Scared All the Time's Haunted Hotels. What is it, Ed, about hotels that makes them such magnets for ghost stories?
I mean, I think you said a little bit in the intro that there's all these things happening there.
Yes.
And also it's transient people, not transient, like, you know what I mean? People are on the move. You're not staying there long unless you get killed and then you're stuck there.
No, literally, I agree. I nodded to it in the intro, but I think it's the transitory nature of hotels. They're almost liminal spaces. And they're I'm sorry to interrupt. No.
Now they're on video. It's harder to edit. I think, they're liminal. When you said liminal spaces, made me think about how you can go to like a Ramada Inn or like a Red Roof Inn or something in all these different states, and they're essentially the same too. So it's kind of like it's the same weird hallway that's like inoffensive and it's like taupe.
Yeah.
And like the same kind of stupid art on the wall. It's really, it's strange that
it's boxy, it's repetitive. It feels like you're in someone else's dream sometimes because we've all seen these same hotels, the same hallways, the same colors, the same brands of hotels. And I think the other reason hotels feel kind of liminal, they're housing all these people, but they're housing all these people, I think, at meaningful moments in their lives. And that struck me because the hotel I was at, I was at a wedding that was being held at this hotel. And I was thinking about it, and like hotels, both good and bad, like hotels, you got honeymoons, you've got people on holiday, you've got wedding guests, you've got funeral mourners,
you've got people whose house just burned down and they have to stay at the hotel tonight.
Yeah, people who are having affairs, people who are recovering from broken marriages, maybe ruined by an affair, people making business deals, people making drug deals. Like there's all kinds of different big things, big emotions, big things happening at hotels. And I think if hauntings are tied to extreme emotions the way that some people suggest that they are, I think hotels are kind of one of the most obvious places for ghosts to end up.
Interesting. I never thought about that, but yeah, you're right. That's really interesting. And, with high emotions come crimes of passion. And so you're going to get a lot of those too.
Yeah.
Hotels are kind of crazy. Now that you say it out loud, hotels are kind of not a no man's land. That's like the wrong term for this, but hotels are kind of a look the other way establishments. Even
nice ones. I mean, nice ones maybe more so than not nice ones.
Depends, right? But yeah, there is a lot of just, try not to make too much of a mess.
Yeah.
Like we have a security deposit for a reason. But yeah, it's so crazy.
Try to keep your blood and cum to yourself.
But if you absolutely can't, then we're taking your credit card.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is so wild. It's just, you're right. There's so many things you said in that beginning that I just really never sat and thought.
I hadn't either until I sat down and started thinking about this, because there's not a lot of places outside of a person's home where you have people experiencing that many highs and lows on a daily basis,
and can leave it.
Yeah.
Where like you said about like leave your cum and blood where you will, or just don't take it out, or whatever you said a second ago.
Leave it in your body, I think.
But there is like an element of I'm gonna go now. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever, like it leaves the staff with something to clean up or deal with, or just prepare for the next person to come in and ruin their lives in some way. But there is like, it's like a...
Well, if you want to get metaphorical about it, it sort of makes ghosts of the living, because you just go and then you sort of drift away,
Sure.
And you leave your memory, you leave your experience, but you go. And I think that's sort of, that transitory nature feels kind of, I don't know if it's ghostly or if it's capital R romantic, but there is something very kind of odd and dreamlike about that as a place, as a space.
Yeah, and I will let us get into the episode after this last thought, which is, speaking of romance, or like romance in the idea of kind of rose-colored glasses, romantically looking at a thing from the past or something. You look at like the Chateau Marmont here in LA, and it's like outside of all the craziness and what must have been celebrities and rock stars, and outside of anything salacious, it seemed like there was this time when this was a lot more common of a thing to do, where you watch a movie from like the 40s or 50s, and it's like, oh, do you live in LA? It's like, I'm staying at the Chateau, but they're staying there for months.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm here for the weekend, I'm here for whatever. It's like, oh, Trumbo's writing at the Chateau, and he's got laundry service, but he's there. Like there used to be a thing, which I don't know if it exists, like maybe it exists now, where seemed like not uncommon to just live at a hotel.
It sort of does. I don't know why I know this, but I do know this is a fact. I don't remember what magazine this was in, but Ryan Murphy of all people,
we're not getting into that.
But they gave him, I think they called it a residency at the Chateau, because he always writes there, and then they eventually let him, I don't know if it's temporarily or permanently, remodel a couple of the rooms to stay in like long term.
Sure.
Not like forever. I don't think he owns the room, but like a long term, it's his office for a period of time. And like one he did up in like a 1980s rocker style, and one he did in like a 1930s.
What's that movie? The fucking Coppola's daughter did it with the dude from Blade.
Wesley Snipes?
No, the other dude from Blade.
Steven
Dorff. She made a movie with him, Nowhere or Somewhere.
Yeah, where he's living at the Chateau.
So he's living at the Chateau.
Yeah.
In that, yeah.
I'm sure people still do. I mean, the Chateau is we don't talk about the Chateau in the episode proper. I hadn't even honestly crossed my mind. I'm sure there are lots of ghosts there.
We'll do a whole New Fear Unlocked about it.
But I'm sure there's people who live there. It seems like the kind of place where if you have enough money or clout, you can just kind of be like, well, thanks for the room, like they're not going to kick you out.
I stayed with a friend who makes a bit more money than us, and by a bit I mean a lot more. And we were at the St. Regis in San Francisco, and I remember noticing there was like a parking sign, and the parking sign was like hotel guests and was one way and residents was the other way. So like a part of the hotel had residents.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a weird thing. I just feel like that used to be a thing. And also I think marriages, like the only way you can get a divorce back in the days, you had to like go to Reno or Vegas or something and like stay in a motel for X number of weeks.
Really?
In order to qualify for it. Like,
what, to show that you could live by yourself?
No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But I think like people who wanted a divorce, and I'll put the information on the screen maybe, but I want to say that was a thing in like the 50s. You had to go, like the only place that would
let you
offer
get
no fault divorces or whatever was Nevada.
So you can get married in 5 minutes
and also get divorced in 6 weeks or whatever.
6 weeks.
But yeah, but it was a thing where there was some loophole where out-of-state people can come stay at a motel for this amount of time and then they qualify for a no-fault divorce or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. We got into a lot of shit right away that had nothing to do with anything, but that's how you know we're back.
That's how you know we're back,
That's
baby.
how you know we're back,
We're a little
dude.
rusty. We're getting it back together. And normally, this would be the part of the show where we talk about personal experiences with haunted hotels. But I structured the show a little bit differently this week because I have a couple of different encounters with haunted hotels,
And you just added them into the stories.
and yeah, and they sort of fit in different places. So
Well, the only personal story I'll give, and it's incredibly quick because I did nothing there, is I went to my friend's wedding at the Stanley Hotel, which is inspiration for the Overlook.
Yes.
In the movie The Shining, and they have built a new structure, detached from the original Stanley Hotel with additional rooms that's still on the property. Like her wedding was at the Stanley, and I can stay in my room and just walk, a couple hundred yards still and be. It's not across the street or anything, but it's basically it's Colorado, so I was still completely out of breath in that quick walk,
right?
Because of the elevation. But I was given the option though. Do I want to? Because the rooms that you can book at a cheaper price because of the wedding were good for the original hotel or the new hotel. And when I was asked, I was like, new hotel, please.
Really?
I was like, I don't want to fucking. I don't want to deal with that. I gotta be up in the morning. I don't want to deal with unless it's that fucking ghost that blows Ray and Ghostbusters. I have no interest in a ghost in my room.
That is actually a perfect pivot into what I wanted to talk about first, which is what is everyone's favorite haunted hotel and why is it the Overlook? Because I think the Overlook is kind of it is the King Kong of haunted hotels. It's the one that everybody knows. It's the one from The Shining. But I think one of the things that's interesting about the Overlook is that it's the first one people picture, but I don't think that people necessarily picture the one from the book. They picture the one from the movie.
Which you've been to, which is completely different aesthetically.
Yes, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
But the one from the book is the one I went to, which is still very pretty and old and interesting and has a hedge maze and all that stuff. And also it's in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Dumb and Dumber. And if anyone's seen Dumb and Dumber, and if you haven't, that's crazy. You should go watch it right now. It's so funny. There's the thing where Jim Carrey's like, we landed on the moon or whatever. That's really in there. That moon landing newspaper is actually in that bar. I went to that bar. I had drinks in that bar in the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And he just improv'd that upon seeing it on the wall.
Oh, no shit.
And
is it called the 217 bar? Is that the...
I don't think it had any... I mean, when I was there's ghost tours, there's this, there's that. They're definitely trying to cash in on all that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just as like the Admiral or something. It was just like whatever the original name was for the bar.
Right.
But it's... they told us, though, like the staff told us, or the lore of the bar and the Dumb and Dumber of it all, is that Jim Carrey apparently had a really, truly horrific experience there and apparently like never went back, like left that night and never went back.
Well, this came up in my research that yes, Jim Carrey stayed at the Stanley and apparently stayed in room 217 and fled in the middle of the night and never came back. But this was Jim Carrey. This was like 1995 Jim Carrey. So he could have just been having a really bad trip or something.
Sure, yeah,
like, I don't know.
I don't want to.
No one ever asked him about it, I don't think. I don't think he's ever talked about it.
People have asked.
Oh.
And he's been very insistent that he won't talk about it. And that's why it just never comes up.
Well, maybe it was really embarrassing.
Yeah, maybe it was. Like, we said earlier, people just shitting and coming and peeing and everything else.
Well, Stephen King, who wrote The Shining, and Stanley Kubrick, who made The Shining the film, are both unquestionably geniuses. Neither of these guys invented their versions of the Overlook Hotel whole cloth. King's version was inspired by what we've been talking about, the Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado. And the history of the actual Stanley Hotel could probably fill a podcast on its own.
It's really fast. This guy had TB.
Well,
he wanted to get better. Oh, what? You were going to bring it up?
Ed's stealing my thunder
now.
now.
Well, I went on a tour.
Ed's stealing my thunder now. He went on the tour. Go ahead, Ed. You can.
No, it's fine. A guy, some rich fucking guy. Anyway, I'm going to let Chris do it. I'm going to cut this whole part that I interrupted him.
The hotel was built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, or F.O. Stanley. Fuck on out of here, Stanley.
Yeah, fuck off, Stanley.
A brilliant inventor who coincidentally was born in Maine, just like Stephen King.
Sure.
Stanley and his brother, now, yes, he was involved in, I believe it was the founding of, there was some film company he was involved in.
He was a portraitist. He painted people, but he's not good with sitting with people. And so he basically he started taking photographs of them so he can paint them later. And then back then, photography was incredibly dangerous, like incredibly dangerous. It was a lot of...
The film was all flammable.
Well, even besides that, it was the development was like... everything about it was like liquid based and incredibly dangerous. Like if people just blew up trying to take photos,
right? And so you had to sit still for so long, your face could freeze like that.
Exactly. I don't know if it can, but maybe. But yeah, I believe that his invention prior to the Stanley steamer and stuff was he invented dry photography, like the safe way of taking pictures that you're not going to blow up. Cool. And he did it like all great inventions. All great inventions are like people going, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And so that was that kind of necessity and mother invention where he's like, I don't want to blow up.
Right.
But I also don't want to sit with people and paint them.
Right.
So how can I safely travel around taking photos of people that I can then charge them more money to paint them?
Man, what the kinds of choices you had to make in the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah, I think back then the biggest choice he made was about his...
But I don't want to blow up.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I think the biggest choice he made was about his illness. But anyway, I might cut all of this.
No, you shouldn't. That's.
I might have gotten it all wrong.
You might have got it all wrong because I don't remember any of this from my research.
It might have been a different guy.
but
it might have just been Stanley.
That's because
the Stanley Hotel.
Stanley and his brother, the research that I was focused on for Stanley and his brother is the real source of the money in his
Stan
life.
Lee and his brother?
Stanley.
Larry Lieber?
Fuck off Stanley.
Oh, this other guy.
Stanley.
So got you.
And his brother invented the Stanley steamer, which you mentioned, a steam-powered car that could reach speeds of 35 miles an hour and was obviously put out of business by the gas-powered car.
Well, I will say this. It did hold the land speed record for steam-powered cars for over 100 years.
Are you? Maybe you're just reading off my notes.
I'm
That's
not.
The next fact I was going to say.
Buddy, I think I mentioned it in a previous episode.
He actually set a world record in these cars. One of these cars got up to 127.6 miles an hour in just 28 2/5 of a second in 1906.
Did you?
It's a fast car.
Yeah, but it's what's the interesting thing about those cars.
Fast car needle drop.
Do you? Well, we can't afford it. This is going to be on the main feed. Did you get into the horn at all in this?
No. Tell me about the steamer horn.
Well, the horn more or less was invented for the Stanley steamer because the brakes were so bad that they were like, the solution was not fix the brakes.
We need to make the cars scream.
We need to let people know, get the fuck out of the way. Yeah. And so that was also, these people were doing incredible work.
I didn't know that. That's awesome, though. That's really cool. Well, what's not as cool is that 3 years before his car set the land speed record, Mr. Stanley came down with, like you said, with a nasty case of the tuberculosis.
Sure.
Doctors told him the dry air of the Rocky Mountains might be a good place for him to recover. Supposedly, though, he moved to Estes, immediately fell in love with the place, didn't believe he was going to recover, and thought that it might be a peaceful place to die.
Sure. I mean, I'm looking for one of those right now.
Or check out, in hotel parlance. Hey.
It wasn't a hotel, though. It was for him and his buds to hang out with for a long ass time.
Well, right.
Like just to hang, like all rich people have. I took one in my neighborhood in Connecticut where like that West Coast rich people built all those like guest houses for their friends to hang out every summer.
This guy, though, was very generous. So he moved there, thought it would be a peaceful place to die. He didn't die. He fell in love with Estes, and he decided to become basically like this town's patron and built a hydroelectric power plant that he used to give free electricity to the whole town. He only sold them light bulbs, but he gave them the electricity
Which,
for
by
free.
the way, at the time, as we know...
were $5,000 each.
No. That at the time, light bulbs were not built to fail.
Right.
Like I think the first light bulb is still on.
Yeah.
Like
right.
literally
But
still
they were
on.
like, we can't sell
something that will
these.
never break. Yeah, so they had to like include failure into them.
Do you think they learned that same lesson with the iPhone? Where they were like, this would last forever.
We better have some software that makes
Yeah.
it unusable. But no, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we that's a very Milton Hershey-ass thing to do.
It is. And then he also powered all the public street lamps for free. So, like, he didn't charge the town or whatever for...
I fucking love it, dude.
So, a few years after he built this sparkling, electrified city in Estes Park, he began construction on the hotel. And for a time after he finished the Stanley Hotel, it was the only electrically powered hotel west of the Mississippi. So it made it a very popular destination for wealthy and elite people to
Also,
come.
have you been there?
I haven't.
It's really out in the middle of nowhere. I feel like kind of still.
Yeah.
It might have been the only way to find the hotel is to have it all lit up.
Lit up, yeah. Well, the Stanley also had its fair share of accidents. Mishaps at the hotel actually began only a few weeks after the hotel's grand opening.
Well, yeah, all the fucking Stanley steamers kept driving into the side of people and into the rooms, couldn't stop.
Well, it wasn't the cars that was the problem. It wasn't the steam-powered cars. It was that on July 7th, 1909, the Larimer County Independent reported that F.O. Stanley had fallen unconscious after being overcome by the fumes of a gasoline engine at the Stanley Hotel.
It sounds like marketing for the car, being like, I got vapors from the competitor.
Well, the U.S. Ghost Adventures website put it pretty concisely. It was an ironic situation for a man whose livelihood was directly competing with gasoline
Yeah,
engines.
that's what I'm saying. So yeah.
To make this man's hatred of gas even worse, it was also the cause of the largest disaster in the hotel's history just a few years later in 1911. Even though the hotel was electrically powered, he was a smart guy, and he installed a gas generator in his nearby manor and gas lamps in each of the hotel rooms in case there was a power failure.
Yeah, and just like kind of a redundancy thing.
Yeah. Although I think, his first problem is he should have stuck with his real friends, steam, electricity.
I mean, New York City, the whole city runs on like 100-plus-year-old hot steam pipes.
Yeah.
Underneath the fucking city that are like... From every time you watch like a video about New York City that delves into this at all, it's like New York City, it's an island of 8 million people that are it's like running on like popsicle sticks and tape. Like it's so crazy, like how
janky the whole operation.
The whole
is.
operation runs, but it's all steam because like still nothing's better than steam. Fucking nuclear power facilities run on steam. Like steam is the most incredible.
You know what really
power source.
You know what really trips me up about the jankiness of New York City is imagining how many fucking tunnels crisscross beneath the city and how many things could go wrong. Like think about that. There's hundreds of ant colony like tunnels just stacked on top of each other beneath the entire city.
I mean, look at the Ninja Turtles. They lived in that abandoned subway station.
Ninja Turtles, it's the plot of Die Hard 3.
It's not the plot of Die Hard 3. I mean, they just used the subway explosion to break into the Fed. Fucking amazing. One of my favorite movies ever.
It really is. Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance is so fucking good.
It's so good.
And it's one of those things where the first time I saw it, I was like,
is this
shocked.
the best movie ever made?
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, I think I probably saw it on like TNT or something.
That's how we all first saw it.
But then you go back and watch it and you're like, this movie is just so good. It's almost, well, I don't want to say it's Raiders of the Lost Ark good, but it's fucking good.
I have rewatched it dozens of times.
Yeah.
I've rewatched Die Hard 2 times. But, McTiernan's back. The team's back together. It very much feels like a script that wasn't a Die Hard script. They just threw him in there.
But it's so well made.
It's so well. There's one problem I have with it, which I won't get into on this pod. But
do you want to go real off the rails for a second?
We always do.
Have you seen the alternate ending?
I was about to say that, and that wasn't my problem with the movie. I have one problem with the movie other than that, but the alternate ending is outrageous, where he's he's in like Belize or something with a rocket launcher.
The alternate ending of Die Hard 3, this isn't ruining anything for anyone. Maybe we'll find a still from it and put it up on the... Yeah. But he meets with... John McClane meets with a bad guy, at a bar in like Belize, and he has a rocket launcher that he puts on the table. And are they spinning it?
They're doing like a Russian roulette type of like fucking kiss the bottle spin the bottle with a rocket launcher, and it's just so awful, and it does go off.
Yeah.
So that is like the greatest let's not do this. And then they all decided that we're not going to do it.
Anyway, speaking of explosions, the hotel, the Stanley Hotel, had just been piped for gas usage the winter prior to this disaster.
Okay.
But up until then, the system had never been used. On the morning of Sunday, June 15th, 1911, there was an indication that Stanley Steamer's electrical plant was having issues that could lead to an electrical failure at the hotel. So in response, the staff was instructed to activate the gas system, turn it all on.
I like the idea that all of this is corporate espionage. Like, it's like Standard Oil fucked with their machines so that they can move more units to them.
The pipes filled with odorless gas for the first time, as we learned.
Oh, is this pre the odor being added?
Oh, wow. As we learned in one of our previous episodes. They likely had also not been tested, which seems like a real failure on F.O. Stanley's part.
Nah, man.
And the pressure that built up led to the formation of a small gas leak above the dining room. And it's that dining room that head chambermaid Elizabeth Lizzie Wilson entered. And
not a lot of great historical Lizzies.
And lit.
I can only think of one, right?
Borden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she start the fire? Did Lizzie start the fire?
No. Well, this Lizzie did start this fire because she lit a candle in room
217.
Reports of the ensuing explosion claim that a bathtub flew up into the air, several doors were blown off their hinges, and at least 10 plate glass windows on the ground floor below the room shattered. The explosion destroyed 10% of the 70,000 square foot hotel and all of the West Wing.
So 7,000 square feet.
It did not destroy Lizzie. She plummeted through the floor and broke both of her ankles.
Oh, my God.
The hotel paid for her hospital bills, and she worked there for the rest of her life. And if the stories are to be believed, she is the one haunting room 217, which is hilarious to me that one of the greatest modern ghost stories, The Shining, was inspired by a room haunted by love. Basically, she loved her job so much, and she loved F.O. Stanley for paying her hospital bills, that she haunts this room because she just loves it there. And apparently people see her walking through the walls and tidying up sometimes. People have seen her tidying up.
Doing what she loved.
Now, to be fair, King didn't know... I don't know if he didn't know that story or if he didn't... I don't know how much he knew about the hotel when he went there with his wife Tabitha.
But he was there for a long time.
He checked into the hotel for one night in late September 1974.
Maybe I was wrong.
Not realizing that it was the last night of service before closing down for the season.
I might be right.
By this point, the Stanley had fallen on hard times, so it was kind of decrepit. It was not...
Was this the 80s? 70s?
70s.
Still 70s.
This was 74. So it was no longer the technological marvel that it was in 1911.
You know what, though? In 74... Stanley would have been pumped because 74 is the gas crisis, right? So we get rid of muscle cars, gas gets too expensive, we have always OPEC issues. So in a lot of ways, the year Stanley moved in was kind of a comeuppance for F.O. Stanley in the gas world.
The year King moved.
King went in was like, Stanley was like, yeah, see, gas can be a problem later.
They apparently coincidentally stayed in room 217, which was at this point the presidential suite.
Oh my God, why did they make their most fucking haunted, disastrous... Oh, I guess it would be the newest room because they had to rebuild that section.
Yeah, well, and Lizzie lived until the 1950s. So she had only died relatively recently. Like I don't even know at this point how many ghost stories about that room there really were. I think there'd been maybe a couple of creepy sightings, but it wasn't...
It'd only be like maybe... less than 2 decades of her being dead.
It wasn't what it is now. But King says that, quote, "That night I dreamed of my 3-year-old son running through the corridors, looking back over his shoulder, eyes wide, screaming. I woke up with a tremendous jerk, sweating all over, within an inch of falling out of bed. I got up, lit a cigarette, sat in the chair looking out the window at the Rockies, and by the time the cigarette was done, I had the bones of the book firmly set in my mind."
We all got to get back to smoking. All the shit, all the good stuff that comes out of it, other than if you have a gas leak at the Stanley.
Yeah, but also I think Stephen King used a lot of other things besides cigarettes to get his books.
This is a man who famously said he does not remember the Tommyknockers, like writing it at all.
Yeah.
Has no memory of writing the Tommyknockers.
Yeah, which is... a long book to not remember having written. That's a lot of pages just gone.
Also, the only Stephen King book I have signed.
Really?
Yeah.
A few years ago, I met a director who was up to do an adaptation, a modern adaptation of the Tommyknockers, and the script that I forget if he'd written it or if he was just circling it to direct it, but I was supposed to give notes on it, and it was much better than the TV version.
Yeah, I bet it would be.
I was like, this could almost work.
I never read Langoliers, but I'm sure it's also much better than the TV version.
Yeah. So anyway, now the Stanley Hotel stands as a monument to really The Shining and Stephen King. There's lots of ghost tours, and people flock there to experience just a little bit of maybe what inspired Stephen King to write The Shining.
Not me. I genuinely said no thank you to that.
I'll
go on the car tour. There
was even a film festival hosted there for a bunch of years, and I don't think they do it anymore.
Do you remember the band Murder by Death?
I do.
They did just this year, 2025, they did their farewell tour, but every year for years and years and years, they did a residency at the Stanley for 4 or 5 nights.
They're a good band.
In like the ballroom.
I didn't realize they were wrapping it up.
This is their farewell tour, yeah.
Now, it's hard to find evidence of any other ghost stories besides the story of chambermaid Lizzie that popped up before The Shining was written. Most of the ghost stories have popped up after The Shining was written. Most compellingly, though, and most believably to me, F.O. Stanley and his wife, Flora Stanley, are said to haunt the beloved hotel alongside their faithful workers. According to U.S. Ghost Adventures, quote, the 217 wine bar in the lobby, once the music room, features a 7.5-foot Steinway piano that once belonged to Mrs. Stanley, who suffered a stroke in the hotel and died 10 days later.
Wow.
She was a woman who loved the Rocky Mountains as much as her husband, but more so, she loved playing music, a passion she has carried over into the afterlife. Her piano is often heard eerily playing itself late at night, and it seems Mrs. Stanley isn't comfortable with just anyone playing her prized possession.
Oh.
The piano cover has slammed down on many fingers attempting to tickle her ivories without permission.
Wow.
Which, as it should.
As it should be. There should be...
No one's ivories should ever be tickled without their permission.
All pianos should have consent.
F.O. Stanley, who passed away in 1940, hangs around his wife in the music room where they both enjoyed the long evenings spent entertaining their guests. His face is often seen in reflections throughout the lobby. There have been many reports of parties carrying on late into the night in the ballroom nearby. The clink of glasses and cheerful laughter echo through the empty hotel in the winter months. F.O. Stanley has often been seen here in this room enjoying the fruits of his labor.
Seems like a decent guy, but I'm sure if we did one more minute of research, we'd find out he was part of the
about
American Bund or something. But other than that, seems like his employees liked him.
He invented the printing press that Henry Ford used
to print those fucking those horrific anti-Semitic magazines. Yeah.
So, of course, the Stanley became immortalized first in print, but then it really became famous on screen in The Shining, partially because of the design of the Stanley Hotel in that movie. But the twist is that the hallways and elevators of that movie weren't filmed in Colorado at all.
No.
The Stanley helped inspire the Overlook, but an entirely different hotel, too, really, helped inspire the hotel in Kubrick's movie. The exteriors of Kubrick's Stanley Hotel are actually the Timberline Lodge, a hotel built by architect Gilbert Stanley Underwood, which I think if you're looking for eerie Shining connections, it's a little weird to me that his last name is basic Underwood.
Frank Underwood?
Underwood's like an inversion of Overlook. Overlook.
Well, I don't know about the look part, but the over part.
And his middle name is Stanley.
Yeah.
So
and the guy who made the movie, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. The Shining is just one of those, but it's one of those things that there are so many. I mean,
I didn't watch that documentary that seemed like bullshit.
Room 237.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Room 237 is actually a super fascinating documentary. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's great.
I'm not going to.
It's not so much it is about conspiracy.
It seems like the number 23 of documentaries.
It is, but I think what it's really about is the way that people see patterns in things, and it's really about, I think, media literacy. It's about, we give part of the reason The Shining holds this great power is because Kubrick is considered a director who every single detail meant something to him. And I think part of what the movie examines, not necessarily in the text of the film, but as you watch it, what it kind of examines is even Kubrick had things outside of his control that resulted in, the hallways don't all line up. One of the things people point to is when Danny's riding his bike around.
Well, that's just filmmaking.
Right.
You build half a hallway, it's cheaper, and just shoot it in reverse.
Right. But people who are Shining obsessives and who are looking for conspiracy theories go, well, there's a message here because Kubrick had his fingers in everything and everything means something. So the fact that if you draw a map of what of what the film tells you the Stanley looks like, the hallways don't line up. It's like, yeah, because they were built in England on a studio stage, and they had two probably facing opposite directions.
Exactly. Like maybe interview the line producer.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is a really fascinating...
Conspiracy's not in the budget.
Yeah, babe. Literally. I mean, yes, there's a lot of stuff in there that does feel like, well, yeah, that's filmmaking. Like, even Kubrick probably went, it's fine.
A guy who,
You know,
like a guy who had like NASA help him build like Barry Lyndon lenses or whatever.
Yeah.
Even he probably had some constraints.
Yeah.
I actually don't know anything about, just the thought I had right now. Were any of his films successful at the time?
Yeah, The Shining was a huge hit, but he made The Shining because, was it Barry Lyndon?
Because Barry Lyndon, I can't imagine was successful. It's such a slog.
Whatever he did right before The Shining was a bomb, I'm pretty sure. And then he did The Shining sort of as a like, well, you know, I'll do a King adaptation. It'll make money.
Them
like,
two hated each other, though.
Yeah. But it was, I'm pretty sure The Shining was his Godfather, sort of, where Coppola was like trying to find something because his early career hadn't gone so well. So he was like, I guess I'll do The Godfather. Then,
did you ever see the movie the way it was meant to be shown? I did one time, and I was so fucking pissed. I saw it at the Alamo in Texas a long time ago because I don't know, I had not seen it in the theater.
The Shining.
The Stanley Kubrick movie. And I guess there were a list of demands. They like talked about this when we saw the screening. They were like, there was a list of demands that were sent to every theater when it was out that were from Kubrick. And it was like, here's what the audio decibel is supposed to be. Here's what this is supposed to be. Here's like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And one of the things was that it's fucking loud.
Yeah.
It's so loud at his recommendation I actually felt it was like one of the worst experiences I've had in
I've
theater.
seen 2001 that way. I think there was a similar set of instructions about 2001, and they showed it once that way at
the Arrow.
No, the what was the
Cinerama Dome?
Cinerama Dome, yeah.
R.I.P. God bless.
Yeah,
but yeah, I saw that, so I'm like, man, this guy's got his fingers in everything. But I wish he wouldn't have typed out this letter because this is a wildly unpleasant experience.
yeah. Anyway, the interiors of the hotel that you see in the movie were inspired by another Gilbert Stanley Underwood hotel called the Ahwahnee in Yosemite National Park.
You've been there, right?
And I've been there. I didn't know that this was the case until my wife actually took me there when we went on a trip to Yosemite. She loves The Shining, and she was like, we got to go see the Ahwahnee. And it is crazy. Like, you do feel like
you're on set.
Kind of. I mean, he didn't copy the whole hotel. He copied the elevators almost exactly. So when you stand in front of the elevators, you're like, this is creepy.
Blood's gonna come out.
Yeah. The lobby is very, very similar. I think the lobby in the movie is much bigger, but the basic, like the
stairwell,
the designs of the where the pillars are and the decorations, the Native American decor and stuff in the lobby is pretty similar. Yeah, you really feel like you walked into the movie. It doesn't have the carpeting. I don't know where he got the idea for the carpeting from.
I mean, I bet you when they did it, though, they didn't think it would be iconic. No one ever thinks the thing that become iconic is iconic.
No. And actually, sometimes I wonder, like, you know, I was just saying Coppola did The Godfather as kind of like, I guess, and Kubrick did The Shining for similar reasons. And I wonder if there's something to be said for the fact that your creativity can be unleashed by taking on an assignment that you're like, I'm going to do my best with this, but maybe it's not the exact song of their heart, and they're able to lend a slightly freer,
Yeah, like if Steven Spielberg decided to sign on for a Hallmark movie, even if he was going to fucking phone it in, I bet you it would still be the best Hallmark movie ever made.
Well, and he'd probably have a lot of fun with it because he'd be like, it's a Hallmark movie, I don't know, like, maybe try some new stuff. And I think that's probably what happened a little bit with some of these movies that really stand the test of time. Is, yes, they're based on hits, but the directors maybe took a slightly different approach or, a different...
Well, they just probably brought a level of, not professionalism, because everybody on every film set, from student films I've worked on to Indiana Jones, everybody's professional. Everybody wants to do a good job. But, yeah, there might be like a level of like, that's maybe not good enough for me when it comes to a director like this, no matter what the constraints are.
Sure, yeah. Anyway... all of this discussion of the Stanley does now bring me to my usual opening question of what is your personal connection to haunted hotels? And I know you already told us.
Yeah.
But we actually have another haunted hotel story.
From me.
Do you remember this?
Were we together?
We were.
Oh my God, yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Well, I had I've had some bad experiences at hotels that were not related to ghosts. So we'll do that just in a fear of the public episode, or like spend the extra $50 episode that we might have to do about like times we were cheap and it fucking burned us. But yes, holy smokes, at Monster Fest.
At Monster Fest, we had a very weird
potential ghost.
So in 2024, we went to Monster Fest in Ohio with Astonishing Legends.
Yeah, I wish they had done it again. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. They put us up in a hotel in Canton,
Astonishing
Ohio.
Legends did, yeah.
Astonishing Legends did. And neither of us experienced anything supernatural in that hotel room. But when we were driving from Canton back to Connecticut, where Ed's parents are and where I was going to catch my flight from, we got a call from Scott Philbrook.
Yeah.
Asking, what did he ask us?
If we had checked out yet.
And we checked out hours ago.
Yeah, we had been on the road.
We were on the highway.
Yeah.
And so we were like, yeah. And he was like, oh,
someone...
okay. No, but he called back, remember? He was like, okay, hung up. And then he called back and he was like, you guys should hear this. And apparently,
a maid or
the
somebody?
maid had gone, whoever was going to clean the room, went into they knocked, there was no answer. They used their card, they opened the door, and there was an old man sitting at the desk in the room.
Yeah.
And she, I guess, left.
Thought it was maybe we hadn't checked out. They don't know who we are. So just the person in the room hadn't checked out.
No one ever saw the old man again.
Yeah.
And it was eerie because we had gone on a ghost hunt in the basement of the hotel the night before.
And we got back to our room at like 3-4 in the morning too. So like,
yeah, it was a very like, oh, did something follow us back to the room?
But the nice thing is that the room was a bit of a vacuum. It just sucked it up and left it there. I didn't follow us all the way back to Connecticut.
Yeah, that's true. The ghost put its presence there instead of sitting in the backseat of your car.
Yeah. But I completely forgot about that. Holy shit.
Yeah, and so then I also have 2 other weird little haunted hotel stories, and one other one was in Boston in like 2009 at a cheap, I want to say it was maybe like a Red Roof Inn. I was there working on an Emerson project right after I graduated college, and friend of the show, Ellie Smolkin, was staying with me in a hotel room, and he'd gone out.
He's got a show on TV right now, right?
He does. Task. 2 Emerson DPs, Alex Dizenhoff and Ellie Smolkin. Both shot my student films. Yeah. Now they're much more successful than me.
Well, that's usually how it goes. But yeah, go see Task. I haven't watched it yet, but
also weird though. Task was shot in Central Pennsylvania, so when Ellie was shooting it, he was like sending me Hershey Highway exit signs because he was driving past my hometown.
Mark Ruffalo was sending me the same shit. Dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But anyway, I was staying with Ellie. I think I was meeting him out somewhere, and so I was alone in the room, and I took a shower. And when I got out of the shower, I felt like I was being watched, which is weird for me because for as much as you read about people having the feeling of being watched, I have almost never felt that sensation in my entire life.
Because you're an exhibitionist. You want it. You anticipate and expect everyone's watching.
I guess, but I got out of the shower and I felt like I was being watched, and then I felt a tap on my shoulder.
Wow.
And my first thought was like, Ellie doesn't usually fuck around. Like, we don't like
what were you wearing?
Grab a towel.
Just a towel.
And I had just gotten out of this was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're not like friends like that.
And the door, I imagine, was closed.
Yeah. But my first instinct was like, Ellie must think this is really funny. And I turned around, there was no one there. And I never saw anything. I never heard anything else. I never felt anything else. But
that's enough to ruin my day, though. I'd be kind of bummed the whole day. I'd be like, what the fuck was that?
It didn't bother me that I was also exhausted because that shoot was a whole fucking nightmare. And in true Emerson fashion, we were like, well, we were shooting a documentary about Emerson in the city for like 2 weeks, and we had free weekends. And in a very Emerson move, we were like, well, what could we shoot on the weekends?
Yeah.
So we stole all the equipment to go shoot some music videos every weekend.
Sure.
And so I was just like tired and not too upset about the ghost I was maybe sharing a room with.
Man, to be in our 20s again.
The other spooky hotel experience I had was at the Cecil Hotel in downtown LA, which is a very famous...
It's named after DeMille?
No. It's a very famous...
I guess it's usually on people's last names. You're not like, this is the Mark Hotel.
Yeah. It's a very famous haunted hotel.
Was it the one with the girl and the goddamn...
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
If the Stanley is America's haunted hotel sweetheart, I think you can think of the Cecil as its sort of cursed stepchild.
Sure.
Because the Cecil is bad news.
Do you bring up Gaylord in this?
No.
All right, we'll get into Gaylord in an NFU.
According to All Things Interesting, quote, the Cecil Hotel was built in 1924 by Hotelier?
Hotelier? Is that what you're trying to say?
Hotelier.
I guess it means like a guy who does a lot of hotels or a lady. Probably not.
William Banks Hanner. It was supposed to be a destination hotel for international businessmen and social elites. He spent $1 million on the 700-room Beaux Arts style hotel, complete with a marble lobby, stained glass windows, palm trees, and an opulent staircase.
Oh, now there's fucking hobos sitting outside of it.
Unfortunately for Billy Banks, the Great Depression hit just a few years after this hotel opened, and the downtown area around the Cecil became Skid Row, which is
to this day
a multi-block sprawl of unhoused people, transients.
Say what you want about blue cities, but this it's never what the news makes it seem like in any city in America, just straight up. But like, I moved here with my printed Thomas guides, like I've talked about in previous episodes. So like, I used maps to get around. Mm-hmm. It has Skid Row written on the map.
Well, Skid Row's
just been an institution of blight for as long as anyone could remember. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's
got to be enough money being made keeping it that way to keep it that way.
Well, I think the city looks at it as kind of it's an eyesore and a blight, but it's also kind of a
contained eyesore and
blight.
Contained
necessity. Like it's not a necessity. I think if we had a better system of government, there'd be better ways to solve this problem.
Sure.
But, I think they look at it as, well, it's an area, it's contained. We kind of, we know how to patrol it. We know what's going on there. We don't know what's going on there, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't care what's going on there.
Well, regular people don't care, and then the people who make money from it perpetuate it. But it's just interesting that this person made this oasis of opulence with palm trees and everything else. And a few years later, economic downturn in the country, and then it remained.
Yeah.
The thing is, the rest of the city got better. It's just his blocks has sucked for 100 years.
With the downfall of the area came a rising tide of misery, death, violence, and despair that I believe stained the soul of the hotel, if not the soul of Los Angeles itself. The Cecil became less of a destination hotel and more of a place of last resort for Angelenos and nomads who could afford to keep just the thinnest of a roof over their heads. But many of those folks faced horrible ends in the cramped rooms and hallways of the Cecil. Quote, in the 1930s alone, the hotel was home to at least 6 reported suicides. A few residents ingested poison while others shot themselves, slit their own throats, or jumped out the bedroom windows. In 1934, Army Sergeant Louis D. Borden slashed his throat with a razor. Less than 4 years later, Roy Thompson of the Marine Corps jumped from atop the Cecil and was found on the skylight of a neighboring building.
Wow.
10 years after that, in September 1944, 19-year-old Dorothy Jean Purcell awoke in the middle of the night with stomach pains while she was staying at the Cecil with Ben Levine, 38. She went to the bathroom so as not to disturb a sleeping Levine.
It's a big age gap.
Bit of an age gap.
Yeah.
She didn't want to disturb Ben Levine, and to her complete shock, she gave birth to a baby boy.
What do you mean to her shock?
She didn't know she'd been pregnant, which is a crazy thing to me, but there's still a television show about
a bigger lady maybe? I don't know, but...
possibly.
Yeah, there is that whole television show about it.
She also may have just not been very smart, because not only did she not know she'd been pregnant, she also thought the baby was dead, and so she threw it out the window.
Oh my gosh.
But it was not dead.
Someone saw it crying on the way down?
It landed on the roof next door, and then it was definitely dead.
How do they know it was alive? Either way, Ben is
Ben's a problem.
Ben's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You've got a mentally deficient 19-year-old pregnant, a 20-year younger than you, clearly mentally deficient person.
Yeah. At her trial, she was found not guilty of murder by reason of insanity and admitted to a hospital for psychiatric treatment.
What about Ben? I think he should get some fucking time.
Ben should probably get some time. I don't know what happened to Ben. In 1962, 65-year-old George Giannini was walking by the Cecil with his hands in his pockets when he was struck.
When he caught a baby.
And failed as a hero.
Hands were in his pocket, unfortunately.
He was struck to death by a falling woman, Pauline Otten, 27, who had jumped from her 9th floor window after an argument with her estranged husband, Dewey.
Oh, man, is there not? These names coming out of here are tough.
Her fall killed both her and Giannini instantly.
I mean, what are you getting to heaven or hell at that point? And someone wanted Giannini. Like, he was on borrowed time.
That's a Final Destination style.
That is a Call of Duty award for killing 2 people with 1 bullet type of thing.
Interestingly, I did see in the research, I didn't go down this rabbit hole too much, but there, I guess, was initially some debate as to whether or not Giannini had jumped with her, but his shoes were still on, which led them to believe that he was on the ground when she hit him, because otherwise his shoes would have fallen off in the fall.
Yeah, people's shoes blast off and they get hit by cars and stuff too.
Yeah.
Laces are an optical illusion.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
But still, wow.
So a lot of death, a lot of horror, a lot of sadness. And then in the 1980s, the Cecil graduated from housing the downtrodden and insane to housing straight up serial killers.
Okay.
In the mid-1980s, Richard Ramirez, who Los Angelenos know as the Night Stalker, who killed 13 people, lived in a room on the top floor of the hotel during much of his killing spree.
Did they have an elevator in there?
I think they did.
See, if they didn't, if it was a walk-up, he wouldn't have the energy to kill anyone.
After killing someone, he apparently would throw his bloody clothes into the Cecil Hotel's dumpster and saunter into the hotel lobby either completely naked or in his underwear. Quote,
but the Cecil at this point has a history of, like, this place, sure.
Well,
no one's going to question it.
Quote, none of which would have raised an eyebrow, wrote journalist Josh Dean, since the Cecil in the 1980s was, quote, total unmitigated chaos.
No, it was just probably like the crack epidemic's happening.
Yeah, I think it sort of looked like
fucking downtown.
The streets of Detroit and RoboCop, the way they were portrayed as like
what's
full
funny
of, like,
because now we're like actively participating in both technologically and through potential laws, like trying to implement RoboCop in cities that have genuinely none of the problems that RoboCop was dispatched to encounter.
Yeah, I think when you look at like...
But Skid Row needs RoboCop.
When you look at New York in the 1970s or this area in the 1980s, you're like, oh, yeah, that was pretty bad. And crime now doesn't really look so bad.
Crime super doesn't look bad anymore. But also RoboCop was, it's Verhoeven, so, and it's satire.
Yeah.
That we should... RoboCop's the closest look at the future, you know, even besides that observation I just made, that we have, because it is like corporatists. It is like corporations run the cities.
I'd buy that for $1.
I don't think we can. They're not going to. You'd have to subscribe to it for $1.
Yeah. A few years after Richard Ramirez called the Cecil home, another serial killer named Jack Unterweger, who strangled prostitutes with their own bras, also took up residence in the Cecil, supposedly because of its connection to Ramirez, although I think it's equally likely that he took one look around at all the bodies, like literally piling up in the lobby of the hotel, and was like, yeah, I could get away with some shit here. You know, like, I don't know that it was really Ramirez so much as the fact that this was a war zone where nobody would notice that he was getting up to some heinous shit.
And I imagine today that area still has heinous shit going on that we don't know about.
Yeah. You'd think the Cecil's appetite for blood and human souls might have slowed after serving as home for at least 2 serial killers that we know of.
Yeah.
But nothing could be further from the truth. If anything, bodies dropped even faster throughout the 2000s, according to the hotel's former manager, Amy Price, who claims in the Netflix documentary, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, that she had seen 80 deaths in the 10 years she worked there from 2007 to 2017.
So, I mean, just been no jobs for a while, huh? Like, people, you stuck working here for 10 years?
We'll get into this a little bit later. Part of the reason, like, the Cecil has gone through a lot of iterations, and it did serve...
Like new owners,
Well, it served as low-income housing for a while.
I'm about to say, there's no way the city doesn't own this fucking building at this point.
It wasn't just a hotel after a certain point. They kind of converted it to, like, very cheap rooms for people to stay, so they weren't literally outside in Skid Row.
I think which means it's definitely owned by the city in some capacity. But I think when the girl disappeared or whatever, the weird thing you're going to get into soon, I think that like half of it was like a halfway house at that point. Yeah.
In 2013, the strangest, most famous case of a death at the Cecil Hotel hit the news: the horrific death of a young woman named Elisa Lam. According to People magazine, quote, in early 2013, the 21-year-old Canadian college student set out to travel along the coast of California. But just days into her adventure, things took a dark turn. While staying at the infamous Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles.
I mean, this is going to end up in our episode I joked about 10, 20, 30 hours ago in this episode. In our episode we're going to do about for $30 more, you could fucking still be alive. Like, this is one of those things.
She went missing. Lamb went missing at the hotel. It was never seen alive again. Investigators searched the historic property located near LA's Skid Row, but came up empty-handed, and it wasn't until detectives reviewed hundreds of hours of surveillance footage from security cameras that they discovered what may have been Lamb's final moments. Now, if you haven't seen this video, maybe we'll put a little bit of it up on screen while we talk about it, but in a bizarre clip pulled from the hotel's elevator camera, Lamb was seen acting erratically, pushing multiple buttons at once and peering out the door as if she was being chased. I think this video footage is genuinely fucking unsettling, partially because it leaves a lot to your imagination.
Sure.
Like, what you see on camera is a woman who is terrified of something that seems to be lurking right outside the elevator doors, but you never see what it is.
I mean, I have some guesses.
After what would you...
I mean, I've driven through the city, and I've seen things where I'm glad it's outside of my car, mainly drug-induced psychosis.
Yes.
And if you're living in a halfway house of people who lied on their resume about staying clean, maybe there's drug-induced psychosis in a hallway.
Well, we'll get into this in a little bit. She may have been the one suffering from a drug-induced
She did. That's, I
psychosis.
think, the original storyline was that she looked kind of like on drugs.
After she steps out onto the 14th floor and disappears from view, she was never seen again. And when that footage was released to the public, it ignited a media frenzy. Online investigators, who are always right, shared theories that Lamb had been the victim of an ill-intentioned hotel employee or maybe even a paranormal force, while others pointed to her bipolar disorder diagnosis as the likely cause of her behavior. And not to be too much of a paranormal buzzkill, but it is known that she had suffered hallucinations in the past when she stopped taking her meds for bipolar. The worst part of this story was yet to come, though, because on February 19th, 2013, almost 3 weeks after Elisa Lamb disappeared, hotel guests started to complain about the water
pressure, not just like a
room.
grossness, right?
Water pressure, along with a foul taste, a bitter smell, and some people claimed that the water was coming out black. Some people got nauseous. A hotel maintenance worker was sent to check the water tanks on the roof, and that's when he made the grisly discovery of Lamb's nude body floating inside the water tank where she had been decaying into the water supply for nearly
And that's what we all know.
a month.
Like, that's, especially in LA, we all know the story where she was
We all
found.
know the story, yes. Now, her clothes were in the tank with her. She was nude. It appeared she had maybe taken them off before she drowned. Her death was ultimately ruled accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant factor, but to this day, no one knows how she got on the roof and inside the water tank. One detail that always creeped me out was that supposedly she had been found with the water tank door closed, and what was weird about that was that the level of the water in the tank was low enough that if she had climbed in, gone to the water on her own, she wouldn't have been able to reach up
the thing
and
again,
close
like,
it behind herself. That kind of got cleared up in the Netflix documentary when the maintenance worker who discovered her admits to possibly having closed the door before the cops showed up, which kind of makes sense. If you climbed up onto a water tank and you peered into an open door and saw a fucking body and went, Jesus Christ, you know, you might close that door without thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know how big the door is or anything, but yeah, maybe.
They were heavy, apparently. And even still, you can't just waltz onto the roof of the Cecil Hotel.
Or else everyone would have jumped from a higher spot if they could.
Doors and stairs that access the hotel's roof were locked, with only staff having the passcodes and keys, and any attempt to force them would have triggered an alarm. The theory goes the hotel's fire escape could have allowed her to bypass those security measures, and her scent trail was lost by dogs near a window that connected to the fire escape.
Oh.
Remember that. More on that in a bit.
Okay.
Apart from the question of how she got on the roof, others asked if she could have gotten into the tanks by herself, because all 4 tanks were 4 feet by 8 feet, cylinders propped up on concrete blocks. There was no fixed access to them, so no ladders going up.
So the maintenance guy would have to bring like a 12-foot ladder and climb up. Got you.
When the police dogs searched the hotel for Lamb and lost her scent near the fire escape, they never picked it up again on the roof.
I mean, well, then someone threw her in there then.
Well, possibly.
I mean, I guess the thing that makes me think that is just she can't get in to the tank.
It does seem like it would have been very hard for her to get up there, but
8 feet.
We'll never know. We'll never really know what happened to her. The footage and the sordid history makes the whole story just weird. And then I had an experience there.
The fuck were you doing there?
I don't know if you've ever even heard this story, Ed. This might be a first time I've shared this.
It might be something to not share with the public.
No, it's fine to share with the public.
Well, I have to pee real bad, so share it in a minute.
It was at this moment that Ed noticed the camera hadn't been recording. As expected, there was some strong language and troubleshooting, but every bit the professionals they are, the show went on.
So my Cecil story happened a few years after the disappearance and death of Elisa Lam, right around like 2016 or 2017. I went ghost hunting there on a first date, or what I thought was a date.
What?
I don't know. The whole night was really fucking bizarre.
Who suggested it?
Both conceptually and supernaturally, the whole night was super fucking bizarre. So I'd met this girl on a dating app, and we were talking about ghosts and stuff right off the bat. And I don't remember who suggested it, but we did come to the conclusion that it'd be really fun. A fun first date would be to go get some drinks and see what kind of spooky doings we could get up to walking around the Cecil Hotel, see if we could see any ghosts. And at this point, the hotel was part like hostel, part low income housing.
Well, what time of day did you go?
No, nighttime.
Did you just say that? I was looking at cameras and being upset.
No. But it was a first date, so it was evening.
Well, I just didn't know if it's something that they offer there, like ghost tours.
No,
or
they
if
do
it was
not.
Like you had to rent a room.
Well, so neither of us had really thought this through. Right before I got there, she texted me that she got us a room. And I was like, oh, damn, this is moving quickly.
Yeah.
But then she texted that another couple she knew was going to join us. So I roll
moving twice as quick.
I roll up to the Cecil Hotel and meet these three people outside of the Cecil. And they explain that there was kind of a security guard who really didn't seem like he was paying very much attention. But the elevators, you needed a key to get up. So they had to get a room to get the key. And we went next door to Clifton's.
I love Clifton's.
I don't even know if Clifton's is still open.
I'm not sure it survived COVID.
But it's a big, weird bar, cafeteria space. And
it's kind of maybe as old as
the Cecil,
yeah.
And this particular night, because it's super old, was like swing night or something. And so it was eerie to begin with because we walked into this very old bar with it's got like a big tree decoration in the middle of the bar.
Yeah, it's like multiple floors.
And it was filled with people dressed as like Navy men and like women in like, swing dresses and stuff.
It's stolen valor until it isn't. You know what I mean?
It felt like walking into a bar full of ghosts already.
Yeah.
So her friends were cool, but they kept making out. Like we sat in like a U-shaped booth,
Sure.
And so the couple was like, we were next to each other and the other couple was across from us, and they kept making out with each other while I was like, so how are you doing?
That is insane behavior.
It was insane.
With a person you've just met.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy person. Well, I don't do a lot of PDA regardless, but
this was early. I was in a relationship in LA for a long time when I moved out here, and this was very early in my reintroduction to the dating scene. So I wasn't great at like sussing vibes out. So I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Should I have already been making out at this point?
I had no idea.
Is this the way dating is now?
But I just tried to stay focused on like, we're going to have a fun adventure at the Cecil. So and they were all very nice. Like we've talked about stuff. It's just, there was this weird kind of sexual energy because her friends couldn't keep their hands off each other.
Things are getting truly haunted now, because yet another technical issue popped up, forcing the guys to reset everything and add a laptop camera to the mix. But don't worry, it's the last one.
So I'm on this very weird date. The vibes.
It's not this. In case this is the only video we have. People think that this is the beginning of our audio.
Welcome back to a very special episode of Scared All the Time,
where there are sometimes video.
So yeah, we're at Clifton's. I'm with this girl I've just met. Her friends are with us. They're making out. I'm trying to have normal conversation and just stay focused on that we're going to have a cool ghost hunting experience at the Cecil Hotel. We finish up our drinks. We walk over to the Cecil, we managed to, there was some issue, I don't remember exactly what, but they were trying to like check how many people were going up per key or something to make sure that you weren't
just filling the room with drug addicts.
Yeah.
Like they're normal Thursday nights.
But it was so easy to sneak in. Like the guy just like turned around for a little bit and we all just like walked past and all use the same key. So the elevator bypassed the first couple floors where the low cost housing was because they don't want the hotel guests getting off in inside Skid Row. And we start going floor to floor.
Indoor botanical gardens, but instead of like
a grow
flowers, it's like different types of insane people.
Weed and opium and insane people.
Yeah.
So we started going floor to floor, just like seeing what we could see, taking pictures and trying to record EVPs on our phones, like asking questions to the empty hallways and seeing if we could get anything back. And we checked each floor to see, because we knew that this story about Elisa Lam going out the fire escape, whatever. And so we checked. There were, the way the hallways were laid out, the far ends of each hallway had windows going out to the fire escape. So we went and checked to see if the windows were open, but they were all locked and appeared to have like a, like if you break the thing, the alarm goes off.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever those things are called. And then we got off on the 14th floor, the same floor that Elisa Lam disappeared from. And as we come around the corner,
that's the floor she was staying on.
It was the last floor she was seen getting off the elevator on. As we come around the corner to the far end of the hallway, I shit you not, the window to the fire escape was hanging wide open.
Whoa.
And I had what felt like a life or death choice to make of, do I go out onto this fire? Do I follow in the footsteps of Elisa Lam? And for a second, it really was like really fucking surreal, being like, she might have seen this. Like, she might have been drawn.
Did you feel drawn? Did you have an overwhelming urge to just go out there and further the investigation?
Of course. But, that I think that was more, it may have been less supernatural and more like, you're only going to get one chance at this. Like, what are the chances that this window's open? And
it might be open all the time is how this happened. You know
maybe. Yeah. But I chose not to. I was like, I got to draw a line in the sand. But one of the girl from the other couple went out, and she went up I guess a floor or two on the stairs on the fire escape.
Plenty of places to make out up here. You got to come out.
Yeah. She came back down and said it felt real rickety, and she didn't feel safe going to the roof. And I was like, I don't feel safe going to, no one should feel safe going to the roof.
Yeah.
A person died literally doing this. I don't know that we should follow the beckoning window out onto the roof. So yeah, that was my weird Cecil Hotel.
So to not make a pun about it, did either of you ghost each other? You didn't marry this person.
No, so then we went back to the room that she'd gotten, and they broke out 2 bottles of wine. And at first I was like, oh, are things about to get real spicy in this room?
Sure.
But then the other guy started, I don't remember exactly because I was drinking a bottle of wine, but I got the distinct vibe that he was maybe dating both of these girls already.
Oh my God.
And it was like a weird
situation. I'll bleep that name, but
but no, not a nice like a you're not welcome here anymore kind of vibe. Like I want you to leave so I can be with these girls. And so I was like, well, see ya.
Oh, you were saying, so, okay, got you. So it wasn't like a polycule or whatever.
I don't know what it was, but I kind of felt like he was not thrilled that I was still there. And then I was like, okay, well, bye. And then I think we never went on a second date. I think we texted a little bit. And then, I guess we did kind of ghost each other at some point.
That's the logical conclusion to first date starts as a haunted house or whatever. You got a ghost.
So... yeah, it was a strange end to a strange night, but it makes for a great story on a podcast.
It does, yeah. I never knew this story. Maybe we weren't hanging out when you were at that level of dating.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were just not nearly this often. So
yeah.
Anyway, even though you and I have both had a few spooky hotel moments, none of them can compare to the stories and spirits of some of the most haunted hotels in the world. And we're going to close out with 2 more haunted hotel stories, one from India and one more from the U.S., both with ghosts as unbelievable as the stories that created them.
Okay.
First up is the Savoy in Mussoorie, India. According to an article I found in online magazine The Conversation, quote, in the summer of 1911, around the same time that the Stanley Hotel blew up. 2 female British spiritualists arrived in Mussoorie, an Indian hill station founded by the British in the 1820s, and checked into the Savoy Hotel, a massive Gothic hotel that had opened in 1902.
Okay.
The hotel had been built by an Irish barrister from Lucknow, Cecil D. Lincoln, who gave the Savoy its spires, lancet windows, and Gothic architecture.
All right, so this is like deeply colonial India. Got you.
The dining hall was varnished with flooring made of oak trunks, billiard tables, grand pianos, cider and wine barrels, crates of champagne, and Edwardian fixtures were lumbered up the mountain roads.
I mean, that shit blows my fucking mind. It's like, yes, how do we make the pyramids? Unclear.
Hundreds of years of slavery.
But I'm saying, like, same thing with, you look at Hearst Castle or this nonsense. The thing where it's like, where did this roof come from?
Yeah.
It came from across the 7 seas. And then, or even the limestone that they made the Getty Center out of, which is a modern construction. You're just like, why did this shit come from so far away? Like, this is wild. Like, poor sons of bitches in colonial India had to fucking drag this shit up there.
I was just in Greece, and they have a bunch of Greek Orthodox churches on the island of Crete where I was staying, and all the Greek Orthodox churches are built on the tops of mountains because they felt it was closest to God.
Yeah, you see that a lot with, like, mosques have to be the tallest building in the...
And I didn't get a chance to... I mean, we're talking... I don't know how the hell they built... Like, they are up there, on the tops of mountains.
They built it probably just, again, through slavery of some kind, or...
Yeah.
Or just, like, I guess you have to just cut a bunch of trees down and then, like, roll stuff a little bit at a time.
It really makes you think that back then they really had not much else to do.
There's nothing else to do. I mean, the Greece...
I mean, sure, slavery, yes, but also just they had the time to wait 100 years to build the hotel.
Well, what's interesting, though, is that, Hellenistic shit is just so incredible, but the Parthenon, I want to say the entire Acropolis, maybe.
Yeah.
But definitely the Parthenon, I want to say, was, like, built in 50 years, or, like, the whole Acropolis might have been done in 50 years. But, yeah, like, that shit's wild. 50 years... We're still waiting on the fucking high-speed rail to get young 30 years in.
Well,
and so they built, like, the Acropolis.
Sometimes I get depressed about the idea that there are generations of people whose entire lives consisted of, like, cutting stone blocks for the pyramids. Generations of families where that was their purpose, was to cut blocks. And
it was nice to have that kind of work. Like consistency.
It was, but then it also makes me think about how in this country there's generations of people whose job it is to run used car dealerships, and I feel like maybe they didn't have it so bad back then.
Yeah, it's true.
The same thing. It's a slightly different society, and the perks are better. But
I mean, the difference is that, like, the pyramid still wouldn't be made if it started this time. Like, there's so much red tape and things and. Yeah, it's just tough. But yeah, it is interesting that it's just kind of, I always think about things like you're saying. It's just like, wow, what a miserable experience it must have been making that shit, but they're still standing probably.
Yeah, they are. According to an article in Outlook India, quote, the Savoy had been the hotel of choice for a succession of Indian and international grandees. The Princess of Wales, later Queen Mary, attended a garden party on the Savoy grounds in 1906. Later, the hotel played host to several other royals, Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, and Prince Norodom Sihanouk of Cambodia, the Gaekwads of Baroda, and the Wodyars of Mysore, who don't...
These last ones
are
sound made up.
J.R.R. Tolkien inventions. The Gaekwads of Baroda.
I'm glad that they were able to leave their fucking cave they lived in long enough.
It sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons party or something.
Yeah.
So this place was fancy. At this time in 1911, one of the 2 guests that arrived on the day in question was a 49-year-old spinster.
Wait, hold on. This is the tail end of the Gilded Age, late 1800s into the early 1900s.
Yeah,
it was right before the Great Depression.
Yeah,
that explains actually a lot about the money being tossed at some of these projects.
True.
All the most incredible things in New York were done in the late 1800s.
This was in India, though. This was colonial India.
Yeah,
so.
But you think England wasn't living
throwing
that golden
around?
life fucking same time?
True.
I'm just saying that, like, all these things we're talking about are all being done. Like, every story we've talked, each one of these fancy hotels were late 1800s or 1900s.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
people were just tossed. People just had fucking
gobs of money, yeah.
And they weren't all giving out free electricity, I'll tell you that much.
No. In this particular case, a 49-year-old spinster, Frances, spinster being the researcher's word, not mine.
Yeah, sure.
Frances Garnett Orme arrived with her friend Ava Mount Stephen, who was from Lucknow, which is where the guy who built the Savoy was from. And there's not a lot of factual information available about this case, so it seems like Ava Mount Stephen and the guy who built the place must have known each other, because Lucknow, Ireland, sounds like a pretty small town, but unclear if they knew each other. Garnett Orme was once engaged to a British officer from the United Provinces, but he died before the wedding. And after that was when Ava Mount Stephen kind of infiltrated her life, taught Frances Garnett Orme seances and crystal gazing, and the two of them often sought to communicate with the dead.
And this is another thing. I mean, Houdini
Yep.
and those people were really into spiritualist stuff.
Yeah.
There was spiritualist movies of the late 1800s, early 1900s. And I do wonder how much of that had to do with a aristocrat, sprawling, high society of people who had nothing fucking else to do other than to be like high society wives or businessmen who only worked bankers' hours. And it's like, what's a fun thing we can do with our free time with garden parties that make it a little spicy?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I also think, there was a fascination with like that period of time. There was a feeling of humanity being on like the cutting edge of something new, with the invention of electricity and film and
cars.
Engines and the Industrial Revolution. And I think there was an interest in like, what else is right beyond something we're going to talk about in our next episode about phones and phone horror. The idea that you could communicate with the dead over a phone didn't seem crazy when the phone was invented, because a lot of people were like, where the fuck is this voice coming from?
Yeah, but also what's his name? Maybe Crowley, but Jack Parsons, guys like these JPL people who seem to have had JPL being the Jet Propulsion Lab here in Pasadena. Like, they're on the cutting edge of science.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those people do end up getting weirdly occult, where it's like, where do my ideas come from? Can you teach me
it's
the
also
devil?
kind of interesting that until very recently, I feel like science and the occult were pretty tightly bound in a lot of different cultures, because they didn't know where the lines were drawn between those things. Like the homunculus, was very, in some ways, very scientifically explored, because even though it was ancient Greece or ancient Rome or whatever, they're like, well, bugs appear from nowhere, so why not people?
Yeah. So anyway, we got off track there, but yeah, it's we'll do a whole bunch of more episodes like that at some point.
Anyway, Frances Garnett Orme long sought to communicate with the dead, and she got her wish during her stay at the Savoy, though maybe not in the way she hoped. One day, Garnett Orme was found dead in her room on her bed.
That's one way to talk to him.
The door of her room was locked from the inside, and Ava Mount Stephen had left to return to Lucknow that morning. Now, the facts of the case kind of make Ava Mount Stephen the prime suspect. For instance, the autopsy revealed that the cause of death was from poisoning. Traces of prussic acid, which is hydrogen cyanide, were found in Garnett Orme's blood. At the time, prussic acid was used to treat gastrointestinal disorders and respiratory issues, although the difference between a therapeutic and a toxic dose was kind of like razor thin.
Yeah, you got to read that old Chinese book that we talked about in that episode.
So it wasn't unusual that investigators found a bottle of this potential poison in her room. In fact, it seemed to have been prescribed to her, except the signature left at the pharmacy didn't match Garnett Orme's signature from her letters.
Oh, wow.
Suggesting that somebody bought this posing as her.
Okay.
On top of that, it wasn't even really suspected that it was the prussic acid that did her in, because the poison was believed to have been administered through her bottle of medicinal sodium bicarbonate, which, when you combine those two things, would have separated out into a lethal dose of strychnine.
Whoa.
So someone would have had to have been close enough to Garnett Orme to know that she traveled with these medications, someone like her friend Ava Mount Stevens. The prosecution also claimed that Mount Stevens, in a conversation with a friend, had predicted Orme's death 6 months in advance, and had also voiced apprehensions about Orme marrying a physician, the previously mentioned physician she was engaged to, and that it was a problem that she was going to leave all of her wealth to him.
You think they were lovers?
Maybe.
Because at this time you couldn't.
I think if you read between the lines, yeah, they may have been. I also think just it's a bit of a red flag when your dear friend is overly concerned about how much money you're going to be leaving to your fiance and not them.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody leaves money to their friends, though. I mean, like, usually it's just your traditional, let's say you died and you had no will that goes into probate or whatever, it's still not going to your friends.
Well, somehow, between Miss Stevens predicting her friend's death and being concerned about the amount of money being left to the fiance who also fell ill and died, Garnett Orme modified her will and left her scheming friend, Ms. Ava Mount Stevens, a hefty sum of money, 3 necklaces, and other jewelry.
We'll have to see the signature on that one.
Yeah, does it match the weird signature from the pharmacy?
These are block letters.
The defense, on the other hand, claimed that Garnett Orme killed herself because of the, quote, unceasing grief she experienced after the man she came to India to marry died, as well as her own ill health. But then there was the small matter of the locked room. If Ava Mount Stevens did poison her friend, how did she manage to get out with the door locked firmly behind her? I assume the investigators checked to make sure you couldn't lock it from the outside.
That's what I was going to say.
That wouldn't be very much of a mystery. I suspect it must have only locked from the inside, or it wouldn't have been so confounding. And that detail does bolster the suicide theory.
But there's no windows. There's no other way out.
I don't know.
There's no vents.
Due to a lack of evidence, Miss Mount Stevens was exonerated. Supposedly, now again, this is another hazy fact that I couldn't find a primary source for. Supposedly, within a few months of her acquittal, the doctor who carried out Garnett Orme's autopsy was also found poisoned to death by strychnine.
What? It's going around. But also, you know,
I wonder who
don't be colonists.
I wonder who he
could
left
be anyone who's trying to kill these people.
Yeah. What is even weirder, or not even weirder, but cooler about this case is that it influenced the history of literary murder mysteries as we know them.
That's funny. What I watched last season of a David Mitchell show, which I've currently forgotten the name of.
Not Mitchell and Webb look.
No. It was like he's a successful person now. So it's
well for himself.
Ludwig. The show's called Ludwig.
Oh,
and,
I got you.
And it's basically like Kirkland brand Sherlock.
Okay.
But there is a person in a locked room, only locked from the inside. The entire time you've been talking, I've been like trying to remember how they solved that one.
You know what I wanted to do once, and I never quite figured out, was I thought it would be fun now that we have all these self-driving cars in LA to do a locked room murder mystery in a self-driving car where a bachelorette party gets into like a Waymo, and when it arrives at its destination, they're all dead.
Well, I mean, they all have cameras in them.
Well, this one doesn't.
Yeah, this is some weapons bullshit right here.
Anyway.
Did you see Weapons yet?
I saw it twice.
Okay.
Pennsylvania Horrorcore.
That's a thing, and I'll bleep this whole little thing out so in case people haven't seen it. That's a thing where I'm in the whole fucking to walk from here to the pizza place.
Sure. According to Outlook India, quote, the technique used to kill Ms. Garnett Orme, adding bromides to the lady's own bottle of medicine to cause the strychnine already in it to sink to the bottom where it was consumed by the victim herself in one lethal dose.
Maybe she was dating both of them. Because maybe she learned all this from the physician fiance.
Maybe. Yeah, it is odd. It is odd.
She knows about like mixing things.
It is odd that he was a physician. But the method of murder was so convolutedly foolproof that Rudyard Kipling apparently wrote to Arthur Conan Doyle suggesting that he incorporate it into a Sherlock Holmes mystery. And Doyle did not, but Agatha Christie did.
Okay.
And in her very first book, mysterious...
How did she? So you also called her?
I don't know exactly how she found out about it. It seems like at the time this case was very famous, so maybe she just heard about it. But in her very first book, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Christie had her English country house murder of one Lady Inglethorpe achieved by the same method to be solved by none other than Hercule Poirot in his first ever fictional appearance. So this was a very famous murder mystery.
But this was an unsolved case.
Yeah.
So...
to this day, we don't really know what happened to her other than she died from strychnine poisoning. It's unclear if the ghost of Miss Garnett Orme knows about the legacy her murder left, but if you ever visit the Savoy in India, you should try to ask her, because people say her ghost still wanders the halls trying to tell guests and employees the identity of who it was that really killed her.
Wow, it's not my signature.
Yeah. So I thought that was, even though it's not the ghostliest story, that was
it's
a
cool
really
that it
interesting.
inspired a bunch of literature.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it before. It seemed like one of those things that I would have come across in some, I don't know, some writing history thing. But
no,
yeah, very
came
famous.
Across it on this show.
A real life locked room murder mystery.
Yeah,
that was never solved.
And that's the thing about real life mysteries they're not solved.
It probably was this other lady.
It was 100% the lady that everyone she talked to died. Mm-hmm. And she was always, she couldn't walk into any room without the like clink, 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 bang, bang, bang of like so many bottles of shit in her, in her coat pockets. Yeah.
So, for our last hotel, though...
Oh, it was more.
We returned to the American South to visit the 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa, a 78-room monument to death, terror, and torture.
Was this a plantation originally?
No.
Okay.
Perched high above the village of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the Crescent Hotel and Spa was built in... obviously 1886, as a luxury retreat for those wishing to bathe in the healing springs of the area. According to Atlas Obscura, quote, tragedy seemed built into the foundation. While under construction, an Irish stonemason identified only as Michael fell to his death inside the grand building. And unfortunately, his death was in vain because it turns out that maybe not all that many people actually were interested in bathing in the area's healing springs.
Oh my God, bro, yeah.
Not long after its doors were opened, the 1886 Crescent's doors shut. It became financially unsustainable. It was abandoned and fell into disrepair. In 1908, it was reopened.
A lot of falls there. Fall to your death, fall into disrepair.
Another lady falls to her death because in 1908 it was reopened as the Crescent College and Conservatory for Young Women, which sounds like a great place for a murder. Yeah. Which it remained until one of said young women fell or possibly was pushed to her death from one of the top story windows. The conservatory closed in 1924 and again sat abandoned.
Sure.
Over the years, the Crescent was repurposed as a junior college, then a summer hotel once again. No one could turn a profit with it until 1937, when an enterprising man named Norman Baker purchased the Crescent and turned it into a hospital and health resort.
Oh, no. What kind of hospital?
Would have been awesome, except for one thing. According to the New Yorker, quote, Baker was not a doctor.
Oh, my God. What?
He was, among other things, a radio broadcaster and a former vaudeville magician who had become rich selling a musical instrument called the air calliophone.
Okay.
Likewise, his hospital didn't offer real oncological treatments, but rather a purported miracle medicine containing extracts from watermelon seeds, corn silk, and clover.
So he's a snake oil salesman.
Oh, yeah. Maybe one of the worst that's ever existed.
I think this is true, and I don't know if it is, but I think the abortion issue and people...
Here we go.
People bring
Let's
it
get
up.
into it.
Yeah, we need to get into this, but I'm misremembering a lot of it, but people were cool with abortions, it's whatever, and then there was just a lot of ladies dying, and so to protect the moms from dying, there were some restrictions or what have you, but the reason the restrictions came up to protect women from dying is because there were so many this guy in the turn of the century.
Right.
There were it was just like this scourge of snake oil salesmen, quack doctors, fake people.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure especially in the world of abortions, which were pretty, unspoken.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If you look at the history of it, I don't know if it became unspoken or I don't know the history of what its tabooism was, but I'm saying that part of the regulation of any kind of it is because they were we need to clamp down on these people who have an ad in the newspaper who do medicine. I don't even mean abortions, I just mean medicine though.
Yeah. Well, this guy, Baker, was the 10th child of a wealthy engineer and inventor, and he spent most of his career in his birthplace of Muscatine, Iowa.
Okay.
By the time he moved to Eureka Springs, his credibility in his hometown was severely depleted.
Oh, no. He has to write his own introduction letters when he leaves.
Yeah. That didn't stop people from flocking to Baker's new hospital and paying handsomely for his ministrations. Now, Ed, I want you to put this brochure that Baker, well, I guess we're not going to have an up-on-screen component.
Well, we don't know what I have access to now.
Ed, I want you to look at this brochure Baker made.
Oh, man, it looks like something I would make. This slaps. Where sick folks get well.
And I want to say the "That's all folks" font.
Yeah, I was about to say.
The last font that you want where sick folks get well.
No, this is
in.
like if Cedar Sinai was in Comic Sans.
Yes. It says, "We cure cancer, tumor, without operation, radium, or x-ray. Every room with connecting bath," and then a sticker that says, "We do not cut out any organ."
Yeah, it is missing a lot of... we cure cancer singular, tumor singular. We do not cut out any organ singular. Like, it's weird that are they paying by the letter? Like, why aren't they finishing these?
I don't know.
I do love it. I kind of want this like framed in my house.
Yeah.
It's kind of like every part of it is a amazing and bad decision.
Where sick folks get well in the "That's all folks" font is going to be the last thing I think about before I die.
The Baker Hospital logo there is a very like Wes Anderson font too.
Yes. This guy, though, beyond this brochure, was unbelievable. Quote again from the New Yorker: "Baker's cancer cure and his following really took off thanks to a radio station he launched in 1925 in Iowa with the call letters KTNT, which stood for Know the Naked Truth."
Is there not rules about what your station is? In my mind, they all had to follow some sort of
maybe
regulation.
This was before it was regulated. I don't know but yeah, when you think of radio stations, they're all like
KCET, WICC,
yeah.
And like there must have been some call sign like properties for like why it had to be named that. Otherwise, radio stations would be called like FUCK.
Yeah.
Like.
This station broadcast across the Midwest, and Baker used its considerable reach along with a print publication to promote his cure, slander his personal enemies, and denigrate the mainstream medical establishment.
So he was ahead of the curve on a lot of this shit,
A favorite target was the American Medical Association, which he once accused of trying to assassinate him.
Yeah, and I also find it interesting that the history of people and gullibility, but it's very telling to me that his radio station is called Know the Naked Truth. I'm telling you what other people aren't. I'm not the mass. I'm not mainstream media. I'm not legacy. Like, they're keeping how to get tumor out of you.
If this guy were alive today, he might be the most famous man on earth.
He might be president.
He might
become president.
Look at this magazine he put out. This shit came out in 1930, and every article sounds like a Joe Rogan episode.
But also, by the way, for people who can't see, it's called TNT, which stands for The Naked Truth.
With a photo of him at the top.
A photo of him at the top. TNT is in the most insane Comic Sans font. And it's just pretty funny because it's like, we knew what TNT was at the time.
Yeah.
So like, this is explosive.
Yeah.
This is in your face.
Yeah. And these are the articles contained within. This is the volume 1. So this is the 11th issue. Cancer is conquered.
Done.
Mussing up our breadbasket.
Don't know what that means.
Trust propaganda in our schools.
Okay.
The truth about insurance graft. Tricks of mediums exposed. Fair. Shall we have, quote, state medicine?
I don't know I already can't tell what he's for and against.
The power of mind over body. Robbers in the night. Aluminum and medical bigotry. Norman Baker's page. And news as we see it.
Okay, I do like that he has a soapbox. That's not the end.
I can pretty much guarantee you what he's for and what he's against off this list. I don't think state medicine is one of the things he's for.
Well, I will say the other thing that I find interesting about this is the bottom, and kind of like how the New York Times has the like only news fit to print.
Yeah.
His like tagline is the voice of the public.
Yeah.
So he's really playing up this like silent majority aspect.
I mean, this guy was so ahead of the time.
Yeah, this
is
his wild.
Time. It's really, really impressive.
Well, it's fun. It's also depressing because you're like, he was so ahead of his time. This feels so prescient, blah, blah, blah. To even have that thought or have that opinion just goes to show that like the celebrity that is a grifter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy was ahead of his time. This guy was the best scammer.
Yeah.
Where now like just people are into scams.
Yeah.
What get rich quick, what have you, snake oil salesman. What did Ralph Nader run on? He would always say like, no one sued the government more than me.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a bona fide for him or whatever.
Yeah.
Bona fides, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, people have for a long time have been distrustful. But at this time in particular, I don't remember what year this was.
1930.
Oh, my God, yeah. So at this time, you know, what have you done for me recently? Like the New Deal hasn't happened. The government was just letting you die in the street.
The New Yorker again, quote, patients who came to Baker's hospital were promised that if their cancer wasn't cured in 3 to 6 weeks, they could return for more treatment free of charge, except for board, room, and transportation, according to court documents. Medical examinations at the hospital consisted of palpitating patients and, quote, pinching them and looking at them. And Baker's facilities didn't contain any microscopes. He also offered guaranteed cures for less dire conditions such as hemorrhoids and varicose veins.
Oof, I'm dealing with one of those last week, remember?
You should go see Dr. Baker.
Dude, they called them piles back then.
He was using the same handful of ineffectual injections regardless of the disease being treated. And at some point, Baker dialed up the crazy because according to Atlas Obscura, he would only accept patients with no close family, and upon their acceptance to his sanitarium, would have them sign undated letters declaring themselves much improved and well. That's something you never want to do.
No,
you don't want to sign an undated letter telling your family you're fine.
Yeah, but
going to be used against you.
Yeah, what that is so crazy. And what I thought you were going with it is that he was going to have them sign a thing that was like they have to leave all their belongings in the event of like dying on the operating table, even though he does not cut out organ. So
he does not cut out organ.
So I don't think they would have an operating table because there, a lot of land grabs in this country.
Yes,
big business, big farming, whatever. To expand their properties, they will find old people and be like, hey, I'm going to give you enough money to be comfortable for the no more than 10 years left in your life. I will set you up. You'll be comfortable. You'll be fine for the next 10 years, but you have to just leave this property to me. You can't sell it. You can't whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's how they expand their little empires of physical land. So I was expecting that to be something like that. But this is so much worse of him being like, sign this crazy
this is full on
undated letter.
Basically serial killer stuff.
Also, it's like the first day you get there, you sign that? Like there's been no evaluation?
Norman Baker... We know he didn't cut out organ, but he did drill hole in head.
Okay.
Because one of his treatments was drilling a hole in his patient's skulls and injecting a cocktail of spring water, corn silk, carbolic acid, and ground up watermelon seeds.
I don't think we should, oof.
Again, not in favor of state medicine, not a big fan of regulation.
No. Also not a big fan of, why watermelon seed? Watermelons don't even have seeds anymore. We now make seedless watermelons because of him.
Yeah, they were like, it gives people too many bad ideas.
Yeah.
We got to get those seeds out of here.
Get these seeds out of here.
One wing of the building was sealed off and named the psychiatric ward. There, patients who were crying...
I would love to see the font on that door. This guy is the craziest font chooser.
There, patients who were crying out in pain would be sequestered away from prying eyes. Once the poor patients finally succumbed to either their illnesses or Baker's treatments, he had them spirited away under cover of night. Rumor has it
but at night is when the robbers come, according to his first issue or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Robbers in the night or something, he said?
Oh, he was robbing these people's souls under cover of night. Rumor has it he would take the bodies away through a secret tunnel to a local crematorium, but no such tunnel has ever been found.
But we do know from our New Fear Unlocked episode with Pat that Fairfield Hills in Connecticut, the sanitarium had underground tunnels to keep them from the prying eyes of the public.
Yep.
So it's not unusual. And one thing we didn't mention when you showed me that brochure is it's a beautiful building. It is a stunning, huge... it's like a hospital-sized building.
Well, yeah,
stone building.
It wasn't a huge hit, but that movie, A Cure for Wellness,
never saw it.
Was sort of, I think, inspired by places like this. I don't think this exact place, but
well, they said he came from a wealthy family, so maybe he had little hospital building money.
Well, he bought the place. It was already built. It was the 1886 Crescent, so he had...
Oh, the one that everything didn't survive at.
He bought that building. So anyway, once he killed people and burned them, he would send the previously signed letters to whatever family the patient had, if they had family. And after a while, he would then send the family a sadly worded notice that their relative had passed away and request a sum of money to take care of the arrangements, which he would then, of course, pocket when he received it.
Wow, I thought it was going to be even greasier. I thought he was going to send it being like, hey, they died with a bill. Like they actually didn't pay their bills.
Yeah, I'm sure he tried it. Maybe this was easier.
And
to
they were
actually
like,
get the money.
Yeah, they were like, every one of these letters is covered in the watermelon stains. Like,
once word began to trickle out about what was going on inside the Baker Hospital, the townsfolk reported him. After a multi-day standoff with local police and the FBI, he was finally imprisoned for fraud. Eurekans were so incensed by what had happened, they broke down the doors and trashed the entire building, destroying records and even attempting to burn it down. After the Baker incident, the Crescent sat ownerless and abandoned until 1946. 10 years later, the building nearly burned to the ground, and then in 1997, the building was purchased by Marty and Elise Ronig, who oversaw an expensive 6-year restoration and renovation of the hotel, and wouldn't you know it, the place is apparently super fucking haunted.
And so it's still open today?
Yeah, as the 1886 Crescent Resort and Spa.
Holy shit.
Surprisingly, the bulk of the haunting stories come from room 218 where Michael fell to his death and not the Halloween Horror Nights style asylum of death and madness that Baker was running. According to the Crescent's official website, guests of room 218 have witnessed hands coming out of the bathroom mirror, cries of a falling man in the ceiling, the door opening then slamming shut, unable to be opened again.
Do you think he had the people also sign an undated letter that said you can't haunt this place?
Yeah, you keep those on file just in case anyone tries any funny business.
Yeah, it's like when you get into an elevator and it was like the elevator permits on file in the office.
Yeah. Another commonly reported paranormal activity is a man in Victorian clothing sitting at a table near the window saying, quote, "I saw the most beautiful woman here last night and I am waiting for her to return."
Well, that's sick. It's sad, but it's sick. It's cool.
I know word as to whether or not this beautiful woman's brain was falling out of a hole in her skull because she'd been operated on by Norman Baker.
No, it's fine. They kept it in with that paste of watermelon seeds.
She looks great from the front, but there's watermelon seeds just falling out of her head out back.
I hate a reveal like that.
So that brings us to the end of our haunted hotel tour.
I'm glad we ended with that last one. Was awesome.
There are hundreds of these hotels all around the world, so we may revisit haunted hotels in the future if people like the topic. But for now, Ed, that does bring us to the fear tier. So where would you place haunted hotels on the fear tier?
No, I didn't go into that one. Like I genuinely booked at a newer hotel.
Right. So suggest Very Afraid.
It's not. It's just I need some sleep. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't know what inspired me to, I think I was definitely afraid enough to not book it for the purposes exclusively of I don't want to deal with a ghost. But I don't know how much of that was like genuine fear and just didn't want to be inconvenienced. I'm only there for 2 days. So I'm going to put it at like a 7 though, because I don't want to be haunted at all. And
Fair.
I do think I've lived in places that have been haunted.
Yes.
Including the one we're in right now.
Yep.
And so, you know, if I'm in a hotel room, there is potentially a chance I'm on vacation. And if I'm on vacation, I want to also be on vacation from hauntings.
Fair. So,
yeah, I'm going to go with a 7. I'm pretty afraid of it ruining my vacation.
Wow, okay. I'm going to put it at a 5 because...
Well, you long for it.
I long for it. I've had weird experiences that have
you
left
a negative 5.
No, they've left me unsettled. I have never experienced like waking up in a hotel and seeing a ghost looming over my bed or something.
Yeah, because we already left when that guy showed up.
That's true. So I feel like I've come in very close proximity and escaped intact. So while I do fear an extremely Shining style paranormal experience in a hotel, to this point, I have yet to experience that, and I don't think I will in the near future. So I'm going to put it at a solid 5.
All right.
Well, guys, time to check out. Time to go to the front desk and awkwardly hand the key back because you're not sure if you even have to give the keys back at the desk anymore.
The video component checked out pretty early on.
About 3 minutes into the recording.
Turns out 3 minutes into the recording, we had a problem.
Yeah.
So
we're getting closer. We're getting closer to a full high impact video production podcast.
I have that old like morgue table thing in the shed that I'm using to build mopeds on, but that might be an interesting table to add a table element to this. That way we can...
Oh, that would be cool.
Because it's on wheels.
Guys, we might broadcast from a morgue table.
Yeah, Goodwill wouldn't take it.
I wonder why.
Like, this is like an embalming table. We can't have this.
Well, until next time when we're broadcasting from a dead man's final resting place.
Yeah, or wherever his radio station was called, The More You Know. Or
I'm Chris Cullari.
And I'm Ed Voccola.
This has been Scared All the Time.
We're back.
We're back, baby. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Scared All the Time is co-produced by Chris Cullari and Ed Voccola.
Written by Chris Cullari.
Edited by Ed Voccola.
Additional support and keeper of sanity is Tess Feifel.
Our theme song is the track Scared by Perpetual Stew.
And Mr. Disclaimer is...
And just a reminder, you can now support the podcast on Patreon and get all kinds of cool shit in return. Depending on the tier you choose, we'll be offering everything from ad-free episodes, producer credits, exclusive access, and exclusive merch.
So go sign up for our Patreon at scaredallthetimepodcast.com.
Don't worry, all scaredy cats welcome.
No part of this show can be reproduced anywhere without permission. Copyright Astonishing Legends Productions.
Good night.
We are in this together.
Together.